Every day, every day it rains, 'cause things will never be the same, the same. Every day it rains, things will never change, 'cause I am not the one to blame.
Yes. It is the Castworthy podcast back at you. Welcome back. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, here with EJ the Savage. And that's it. The other two didn't show up this fine evening. What's going on, EJ?
No call, no show.
No, that should probably be the episode title because
already,
it's like 2 or 3 in a row for these dudes, man.
Definitely.
Golly. And yeah, E is out of control. Golly. Yeah, so Castworthy Podcast, we are back at you after a few weeks break here. Kind of dealing with fantasy football preparations and us down here in Florida kind of going through this hurricane preparation, and so I think the everyday it rains is pretty fitting for what we've been dealing with and what we got ahead of us for the next few days.
Mm-hmm. Where can you find us?
I mean, you can find us anywhere there's podcast content, pretty much. Well, most of the large ones, that is. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, www.spreaker.com, Google Play Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Castworthy. For interaction beyond content, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Searching Castworthy. On Instagram, we are at Castworthy_podcast. But yeah, we're looking to interact with everybody, and the feedback we get is useful, and it's great when we get the message asking what's going on with the episode. So we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where shall we start?
I can tell you one thing.
Man, go ahead.
I can tell you one thing. I'm certainly not in Orlando anymore. I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
About 8 o'clock tonight, around 8 o'clock, laying down, just put the kids down. You know what I mean? Laying down, lollygagging, setting my alarm just in case I fell asleep before the pod, because I was definitely feeling it. And I hear 4 shots ring off, and it's small caliber weapon. So, small caliber joint, you can't really, is that fireworks? Is it, something stupid? Immediately go to the closet, grab my joint, load it up, don't cock it just in case, no harm, no foul. And I immediately start hearing screams. So I called the boys. Took about a minute and a half to get through to 911. Young guys around the corner, college graduates of some sort. I believe they went to one of the 3 universities around here, or maybe multiple joints. They were having a little party. I mean, I saw a lot of young girls pulling up in skimpy, tight things today. But unfortunately, one girl got shot, and it doesn't seem like she's going to make it. So rest in peace to her. But the sad thing about it is, and this is the thing I really wanted to bring up about our culture and our people. My neighbor said he saw the dude let off, right? The dude looked like he was drunk or something, fumbling in his waistband or whatever, and then just started letting off in the crowd. And the crazy thing for me is that it was like at least 50 to like 60, maybe like 50 kids just walking. Young, these are all like 20 and above, just walking. Not even none of them, on the phone, not none of them running. Like, back in the day when it was a house party and there was a shooting, people was dipping, they was running.
Mm.
And I just don't, I don't know if it's this generation. I don't know if they couldn't tell. I don't know what it was. But I was just looking at the whole situation, and I could tell when I saw my neighbor running out, I saw a couple cars peel off, so I knew something happened. But I wasn't going out there till, I was ready to go out there, of course, because I got the kids and I had my hammer in my hand. I didn't want to make no mistakes. Um, but I just don't know if it's that these kids are so insensitive to violence that nobody was running, nobody was yelling, nothing. I seen one young man when the cops finally did arrive, signal for them to come to her because she was laying in the ground.
Hmm.
But yo, Steve, you would think nothing happened. These kids were just walking away, walking slow. Some of them were coming back to the party as if nothing just happened. I like, I don't know. And I think of all things, even the way I feel right now, this happened 3 houses down from me, literally. Like, I can hear it very clearly, very closely. My neighbor said he seen the dude shoot, you know, and while I should be rattled, I should be feeling some kind of way, I don't. And I mean, have we become as a nation, specifically as a culture of people, have we become so numb to violence? What do you think?
Hmm. Well, I kind of been out of the that kind of loop for a while. Being down here, I try to stay away from that type of thing. But it seems as though, um, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you would attribute it to, but when you hear about it, you hear about, oh, there was a shooting here, there was a shooting there, and people still hung around and did whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like somebody getting hurt in a sports game. You know what I mean? Like you watching football, somebody gets blown up, they can't move, they bring the stretcher out, get them off the field, and then everybody gets back to the normal scheduled
Right.
programming. Um, that's what it sounds like happened, and it's people. Everybody wants to have a good time and shit like that. But you would think that when something like that happens, that individuals would understand the threat and you know perhaps think maybe somebody's gonna come back and do whatever needs to be done. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because when you think about it, it's rare for it to be for a woman to get shot and it be meant for her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so you would assume that whatever took place was due to some type of beef, um, and stray bullet or whatever happened, and the girl got hit, and it sucks. It sucks. When you try to go somewhere and have a good time, and knuckleheads don't know how to act. So hopefully she does okay. I know you said it didn't seem like she was gonna make it, but I send the best to her, and hope she does all right.
Yeah. 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 Just was I don't know, I found it striking because, like I said, I heard the shots. I didn't hear no kids running. I didn't see them running. I seen a couple of, a couple of things going on, but I just didn't. It just struck me as odd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in my day, shots let off. You hauling ass. These cats, I don't know, man. This shit was just weird to me, you know. But yeah. I mean, prayers to her family because, like I said, I don't think it looked too good. And then the crime scene vehicle came, so I don't know that. Typically when a crime scene unit comes in this town, um, it's fatal. You know, and I believe she's. I mean, like I
Mm,
said, the dudes that throw this party. I don't know if they live there with their parents or I seen adults there before, but I'm not sure. But I know they're college grads, and I know they had like they graduated not too long ago, but I know they do something there. You typically, this is the first time that something has happened from their function, but I'm 100% certain this girl was a college student. Her friend was in the street crying hysterically, talking about how they didn't get sent to school for this to happen. So it's gonna be pretty fucked up for the parents to learn, family to learn that your kid is away at college and something like this has happened. So definitely prayers to them. You know, shout out to them. Prayers up for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. You hope that never happens, especially, I mean, college kids, you know, um, they just want to have fun, get drunk, make bad decisions.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. And, unfortunately, the locals sometimes stray in and things like that happen. So, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
sounds like Baltimore to me.
Yeah. Yep.
That's rough, man. So speaking of Baltimore, how was the flight back? You just left today in the midst of all the hurricane madness in the airport. Was it crazy?
It actually was. It was actually pretty. When I got there a little early, and it was pretty calm. It was like no cars there. Pulling up. The young lady that brought me there was like she does, frequent Ubers to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually a parking lot, but there was nobody there at that point. People started to come in later, but yeah, my plane was an empty flight. Um, it was pretty good. It was a lot of turbulence, for sure. I was getting a little scared, yo. It was a lot of turbulence. I was like, yo. But yeah, it was decent, man. It wasn't too bad, and I know other flights got grounded and canceled, so I was glad to have gotten up and got on, because I need to go to work tomorrow. But yeah, it wasn't too bad, man. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You got lucky because they're talking about closing the airport again down here. So,
Mm-hmm.
because shit is just getting out of hand, man. That fucking Hurricane Dorian, I have never heard or seen nothing like it. As we sit here and pay attention to it and watch it, that shit is doing a number on the Bahamas, man. That shit is, whew, they are. I mean, it's looking like and sounding like the Bahamas is, parts of the Bahamas is not gonna be there anymore.
Yeah.
Like Freeport, it's been sitting over Freeport. I went to work at 7 this morning, and I watched the 8 o'clock briefing on the Weather
Mm-hmm.
Channel, and it was just heading towards Freeport. And now 10 o'clock at night, 14 hours later, the bitch is still lingering over Freeport. 140-mile-per-hour winds, non-stop rain, and they said what it looked like up to 20 feet of storm surge, which, them being surrounded by ocean, the storm surge generally is going to consist of ocean water, salt water, just 20 feet of ocean
Right.
water. The videos that have come out are devastating. You had one young lady that was filming a video that was saying, just pray for us and hope that we make it
Right.
out alive. Standing on what looked like a porch of some sort, but possibly might have been the top floor of the home, because she then said later, the roof flew off. So can't really tell because it just looked like she was outside. You thought it was a porch, but she might have been inside and roof took off.
Right.
So that's a thing. You see like what looks like just a giant mudslide. There was one report of a 7-year-old kid that already died in that storm in the Bahamas, and the 7-year-old's sibling, I want to say was a 5-year-old, was still missing. So yeah, the Bahamas is getting it bad, man. Yeah,
And I saw a video, a lady taking a video in her house, with floodwater just pouring in the basement, just pouring in, like, just crazy. I mean, at that rate, that shit's gonna definitely like get to the second level at some point,
yeah,
which is nuts. It's
yeah.
nuts.
It's crazy because they're trying to I mean, it right now it's stopped. It's, they're saying that there's no movement on this shit,
Yeah.
which is crazy for a storm to just stop. You know what I mean, and not move. But yeah, we don't know where it's going. All the models have it, staying off of the coast of Florida, which is a bonus for us because it was madness down here for the last 5 days or so, starting last Thursday, with people trying to get prepared, just out by, trying to get water and gas and prep for it because it was coming. And so I mean, hopefully it stays off the coast, but there's always the shot in the dark that something changes and it goes further west and goes straight up Florida. So we hope for the best, we prep for it, and we'll get through it. It's not as bad. Of course, we're not nearly in Orlando, of course, not nearly as bad as, the Bahamas or any of the other islands out there that could potentially get hit with a hurricane because, it has to come on shore and then it has to travel to get to us. But, the coasts where the beaches are, where people frequent for tourism and shit like that, that's what's going to take the beating, whether it comes on shore or not. And the closer it gets to it, obviously, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely unique, like you said, man. And, ripping that island apart, man, and just causing havoc, and to be such a strong storm, historically strong storm. It's pretty scary, man. Definitely, you gotta stay safe and prepared out there, man.
Yeah, the funny thing is when it first started, and it was, last week, probably before Thursday, before it started to intensify, when it first started, they were like, it's gonna be small. It's nothing major,
Right.
because it just didn't look like shit a week ago. It was all good a week ago. You know what I mean? And it turned out, Dorian turned out to be the largest storm. Well, maybe not the largest, but as far as the speeds, wind speeds, highest wind speeds ever. Probably one of the most devastating, catastrophic storms that we've seen. When they saw wind gusts up to 220 miles per hour. It went up to a category 5 where they were considering, making a category 6 because the winds were so high, which is unheard of,
Right.
So, it comes with,
Yeah, they've definitely been saying it's unprecedented. They definitely been saying that.
yeah, it comes with the territory. It just, makes you wonder what the fuck, is causing the stuff, right? Is it global warming? Is it, the shift, because of all the things that take place with, bombings or tsunamis or what you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's causing it. But, for something like that, if it's something that we're going to see more of, might be time to, think of, alternative ways.
Or like President Trump saying we're gonna nuke hurricanes. We're gonna nuke hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. if if Trump nuked that shit, and that motherfucker goes another way or disappear, he got my vote.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just when I was outside talking to my neighbor, this white guy from up the street, and old white guy, forget his name, but of course he let me know about 10 minutes into the conversation who he was supporting. And I was just like, okay. I just started shaking my head. And I just started nodding, like, what can you do at this point? But yeah, that's nuts, man. It's definitely like some what is that, day after tomorrow type situation. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's hurricane season, but damn, and I mean for it to just be hovering over the Bahamas, that's and not moving. Like they're like, yo, this joint is just not even it's not even moving. Like that's kind of crazy, man. Like that is kind of crazy. Like you would think by now, it'll taken its course and went somewhere, but it's just stroking the Bahamas right now. It's nuts.
Yeah. It sucks for them because you just don't, you know what I mean? Like that's unheard of for a storm to just stop and linger for hours upon hours upon hours. And could you imagine? Like I don't know if I know you've never been in like a major hurricane. You've been in hurricanes, but nothing
Mm-hmm.
major. But and I've only been in it one time, in a major hurricane one time, and small things here and there throughout. But that 100+ mile per hour winds, and you're sitting in your home enclosed, um, not knowing whether or not the infrastructure is going to give out, um, whether or not the roof is going to come off, whether or not there's a tornado up the street. You know what I mean? The bonus that they had was it's daytime. Like, every hurricane that I've been in, when it's daytime, although it sucks, you can at least look outside and kind of
Right.
see, right? Now it's 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, and it's still sitting there, and they've been sitting in that shit for over 12 hours, and now it goes to where you look outside and ain't shit but pitch black. You know what I mean? You don't know what's coming at you directly. So, it sucks. I hope for the best with the Bahamas. I hope people understand how devastating that shit is. When the fucking Notre Dame shit blew up, they came up with a lot of
Yeah.
money quickly. I hope we do the same due diligence for the Bahamas, and anybody that's in Florida. If we do get lucky enough for it not to hit us, my supplies are going there. The stuff that I bought going there. The water, you know, the gas cans, whatever. I'm not sending my
Right.
generator. That's a bit much, but I'll but I'll donate. The other stuff. And I think people should really look into that as
Yeah. Yeah.
Florida residents.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, but yeah, man. So, but although we have that type of devastation, we are what under 72 hours from the kickoff of the NFL season, 2019 NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, already.
Yep. And
Oh,
draft day. We had draft day the other day.
yeah, we did the fantasy draft a few days ago, or actually yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. It was a rough weekend. I did a lot of drafting this weekend. I did 4 drafts over the weekend. So,
Yeah.
um,
You were in there.
but yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a good time. You being down here, Rich being down here, and just getting everybody together.
Had the whole gang, man. It was good. It was
Yeah,
toxic. It was funny. It was definitely toxic, man. It was terrible.
yeah, it was a bit much, man. I But yeah, it was definitely a good time. I'm super excited. I am excited for football season. This shit seemed like it was taking forever this year to start.
Yeah, definitely did. Shout out to the bookkeeper and his family for hosting. Had his sons and wife involved, and he was cooking on a grill. The food was great. Drinks was flowing. Shout out to them for hosting. But yeah, man, football season's finally here. We got two major holdouts still going on: Melvin Gordon, Zeke Elliott. But other than that, man, we're here. Like, we are finally here. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right around the corner. Yeah, that jerk chicken was banging.
Oh yeah, everything was good, man. Everything was solid. Like, everything. Turkey empanadas is my
Yeah.
favorite. Turkey
Yeah,
empanadas is my favorite for sure. But yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
man. It was good to have everybody around and do the draft. We went pretty quickly too. Kept the timing timer part. Rich was on his job on the timer.
Yeah,
That went pretty well.
it was a lot of drinking.
Yes, yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm recovering as we speak because I was hurt. I don't know how I got up early this morning, but I did. Thank God. But yeah,
Yeah, I know. I set my alarm for 4:15 to take you to the airport. I think I snoozed it three
hmm
times. Like 4:54, I fucking finally was like, oh shit. And got up and he was already gone. So I was like, oh, back to bed.
yeah,
Back to
yeah. I
bed.
figured, man. I said, let you get let you get some rest, man. You know what I mean? I was going to Uber it up. Ubers are so damn high down there, but because everything's so far. But yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
Yeah. That's a huge difference. I know you're big into using Uber for
hmm
transportation, and in the smaller towns or smaller areas, right? Because Baltimore is still a sizable town. It's not of course, not as big as Orlando, but it's sizable. But when you have a smaller area that you're traveling as opposed to here, generally everything is 20 minutes,
Yep.
25
Yep.
minutes, half hour. And it's, a good amount of distance away. So, um, but yeah, man. I'm glad you got back safe. Glad that you got out the airport and I didn't have to go pick you up and
Right.
bring you back from the airport. Um, yeah, man. So, something you said something took place with Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Jigga man. So he recently made some comments on the social justice panel, basically kind of alluding to the fact that he believes that young black men growing up in single parent homes um, typically have less respect for authority and the law, causing causing more tension between one another. So that was his thing.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything about that. I have to go out and take a look at it, see if I can find the information. But I hadn't seen anything about it. Do you know? Actually, let me see. Give me your take on it while I'm trying to find
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I think to some degree he was attempting to say, growing up in a single parent home, fatherless, you kind of breed that level of independence, and attitude that is not friendly to authority. Um, but yeah, it a lot of people are giving him a lot of backlash for it because it was. I don't know if Jay-Z is I don't know. I think he may be trying to come from a good place, but it's just not coming out right. It's not sounding right. It's just, and then with the timing, with everything, with the deal, he's on the panel with Robert Kraft. You know, it's just not, it's not coming out the best. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's I wouldn't, I'm not gonna beat him up so much for this one, but it definitely didn't seem like the best. Definitely didn't seem like the best thing to say.
So, all right. So Jay said, growing up in a single parent household can cause people to have an adverse feeling towards authority, which causes them to tell the police, fuck you, resulting in interactions that cause people to lose lives. So I can see how that could get taken out of context. I can see where and so the thing about it is, I think you have to dive in and dig in and understand and see what's behind it, right? And I think that's the problem with our society is they take everything at face value and react so quickly and so I don't know, in an uneducated way, right? When you hear that, it sounds like he's copping out and saying it's our fault as a society. It's our fault for, you know, the single parent homes causing the poor interactions and causing, you know, the police brutality and the shootings and things of that nature. But I think you know, me personally, when I listen to that, you know, there's some truth to that statement. You know, when you think about it, and not saying that single parent households are always going to breed individuals who have no respect, who are going to go out there and challenge the police. But when you think about it, the people that come from single parent households are one of two things. They're either there's two sides of the spectrum. They're either extremely successful in most cases, whether it's sports, whether it's, you know, just the will to succeed and the will to be successful, like yourself, or you're in the streets, you're banging, you know, and fortunately, right? So here's the two different types of households, right? You could be in a single parent household with an educated mother or father, who is out working, who can work a 9 to 5, who can do 40 hours and come home and still make sure you have dinner, tuck you in, bring you to school, things of that nature, spend time with you on the weekends, etc. Or you can have the single parent household where, you know, it's just generations upon generations of, you know, poverty, where the mother or father is either out hustling or, you know, whether it be legal or illegal, or working 2, 3, 4 jobs, odd jobs, working, you know, 7 to 4, and then coming home for an hour, maybe to throw together some fucking, you know, beefaroni, leave the shit on the stove for you, and then dipping out to make, you know, the 6 to midnight or the 6 to 2. And that leaves you, or, you know, not you, but it leaves the kid to be raised by whom, right? Whether it's siblings, whether it's big cousins, little, you know, whether it's neighbors, whether, you know, they end up on the street with the family that they know. And who's taking these people in? You know, I'm sure you see it more so than not in your field and in Baltimore in general. You know, these kids they're going to end up on the streets, and they're going to sell drugs because, you know, I see my mom struggling. If I can help, you know, I will, you know, and that's just the nature of society. That's the nature of our culture. When we see, you know, our family, we see our moms, our dads struggling, we want to help. And if that means, hey, I got to go out there and I can make a quick jack move, or I can, you know, go out there and I could flip a brick or, a few ounces here, or, especially because, people are willing to front it to kids like that because the kids are not going to do the long-term time, and then they'll come back out and you can use them again. It's just, it's the inner city, and it unfortunately I can see what he means by that, and naturally those same kids, they're out there getting profiled, right? The cops, again, it goes back to the conversation we always have. The cops that are policing are not from the area, and then they come into that zone or that area and they see these kids that are from the one family homes. These same kids see these same cops and they're like, you're not from here, white boy. You're not from here, Mr. Rich Man. You're from the burbs. Like, get the fuck out of my face. I don't need to respect you. And I think that's the message behind what he said, but not in so many words. But people don't hear that. They hear, word for word, and then it's up to interpretation. And naturally, interpretation is, it's opinion.
Yeah, and I think he has to be. I think you're spot on. Especially Jay-Z coming from a single parent household, coming from an environment. He definitely probably could elaborated on the environmental factors, the neighborhood factors. All of the different things that you just touched on. That make sense. That bring that all home. I think because of the deal, I think because of the comments that he's been having, and I think this is honestly the most candid we've ever seen Jay-Z in his comments and beliefs about something, which is something, I kind of appreciate, because for years you really didn't get a lot of sound bites from him on these type of issues. While I think he has the right idea, I think he has the understanding. It just doesn't look good in settings and the timing and what he says. And I think it's partially because he's being honest. He is giving us the truth. He is giving us his true feelings. And I like you. I get exactly what he was trying to say. But I guess the people that are really, really against the NFL and the move that was made, really are kind of upset about it, because I didn't really like. I kind of tried to read between the lines and give him the benefit of the doubt. Like you said, again, if you're just taking it literally for what he said, and you feel a little sensitive about it, you're definitely gonna attack him for it. But I didn't think it was enough for me to feel like, let's cancel him, let's get mad. I think he's already kind of in that boat at this point. No matter what, no matter what people feel. And yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It's more to it. Could he probably articulated it better? Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I kind of appreciate him more and more being a little bit more vocal about these things and being a little bit more candid. Because like I said, for years we never really got to see or hear how he feels about different things, whether it's political, whether it's anything. He's pretty much been quiet. So I don't know. I don't know if this panel discussion, because I think it had Van Jones, Robert Kraft, and I can't remember who else was on there. I don't know if this is like the first of a series of things that has to come with this deal. I don't know, but yeah, I just hope at the end of the day that we can get something done. And I don't know that anything's gonna come from Jay-Z, but we just there was just a video of a cop choking another young teen that they had subdued. Just choked him out till he passed out. And very reminiscent of Eric Garner's death. And I actually interacted with some officers today. Thankfully in this town, if you present to be, um, respectable person, and for the most part, a lot of these guys are cool. And it's funny, that in the situation, as I was saying, the friends were hysterical. I think the officers did a pretty damn good job trying to keep them calm, because one girl would just not stop screaming, yelling, and flailing and fighting, like, acting as if she was gonna fight the cops. So it's very delicate, what these people have to go through for their jobs every day. And like Jay-Z is saying, if you growing up in an environment where you're missing the man of the house, you believe can't nobody tell you shit, and everybody around you has no respect for the cops, not just authority, that is going to play a factor. And speaking to today's generation, these kids, to be honest with you, um, we used to get beat up by the police or harassed by the police a lot. And you know what? To be honest with you, we would run. Oftentimes we would run, or, we wouldn't give them no problem. We would have a mutual understanding, whether we liked them or not. These kids today, I really don't think these kids today have any fear, any thought, any second thought of authority, or just fear at all. Like, and it goes back to what I was saying about the seemingly concept or idea or belief that I have, that these kids are so desensitized to violence and other things. I don't even think that they see cops as something that they should respect authority. And you see oftentimes when some of these young kids, today's generation, they're in certain scenarios where they cursing in public. They don't care who's around. They just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So couple that with other factors, I think that creates a even bigger dissonance towards law enforcement and authority. And I mean, Jay-Z was, well, I don't think he was saying it the best way. I think he had a point, like you.
Yeah. Yeah, just lack of lack of discipline, lack of training, home training, and it is what it is. But all of that aside, it really comes down to people being miserable. People putting so much effort into trying to villainize, V for villain, or cancel, this whole cancel culture, Black Twitter, etc. Cancel somebody, and if you take that same energy and you put it towards something good, you put it towards something useful to our culture. I mean, something as simple as getting a message out about voting, or working to get transportation to the polls, and shit like that. Like the smallest thing, you got all this time to try and dig shit up, try and fucking make shit go viral. They got chicken sandwiches going viral for our fucking people. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, like what we dedicate our time to. They got us fucking brainwashed as a people, and we're dragging each other down. End of the day, you got somebody who a lot of people consider a hero of the culture, for the contribution, and now they're critiquing and criticizing every move, every word, because of something so minuscule. And I think we got to do better, man.
I think though, and I've said this before, and this has always been my thing with Jay-Z, with Beyonce. I think we have to be able to be critical of these people. Anybody that we entrust to, quote unquote, represent the people, we have to be able to criticize them. People criticize Martin, they criticize Malcolm back in the day. Not saying this guy is on the level of those two, but for some people he could be. But I think we have to be able to criticize him. Is everything gonna be justified? Is it gonna be justified criticism? No. But I think we have to be able to criticize him because, like I said before, this move for me didn't feel good. It didn't seem like it was a good thing, based on the history. And while we don't know what's gonna happen, we still gotta wait. I still am critical of it, and we have to get to a place where we can be critical to not just our celebrities, but to those that are fighting for change, like Dr. Umar Johnson. people were critical of him, and they have been critical of him, saying he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. To some people, he might, but I think we have to be critical. But like you're saying, the cancel culture part of it is, I think, problematic because you criticize so much, and then you want to cancel, and you want to then negate the efforts of what somebody's trying to do when you're not doing anything. I think that's when, like you're alluding to, that becomes the overall problem. But I definitely think we have to be in a place to criticize because, Jay-Z's human. He has a history of being for self. Um, he has a argue he has an argued history amongst his friends and business partners, and so you got to be able to question the dude. If not, we'll be putting people on a pedestal of no return. This, you can argue that's how R. Kelly made it this far. While he didn't really do anything positive for the community, but he was just so highly regarded and is still highly regarded by so many of his fans. We turned a blind eye. And I'm not saying that Jay-Z will do anything of that nature, but I just think we can't make these people our idols, our masters, to where we can't feel like we can't criticize them. So I think criticism is fair, but I'm with you. I think the cancel culture part of it gets problematic because, you shouldn't just be able to just cancel somebody for one or two things that they do that you don't agree with. Me, all the while they're still trying to do something and you ain't doing shit. But most of the people talking that shit are not doing anything in the first place. So
Right, but you got these same the issue I have is that you got these same fucking social media, sunflower seed sucking, uh, jobless, individuals sitting there trying to cancel the likes of a Jay-Z or a Beyonce for some, or a Rihanna, well, rarely Rihanna, but a big name person for something small. But they idolize and they big up and put on a pedestal, like you say, and spotlight somebody like fucking Fat Boy SSE because he records himself giving $100 bills to kids and shit. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
So all right. So you just gave out $300 to 3 fucking kids on camera so that you could post it on fucking social media. Okay, so you bought 2 pairs of kicks for some kids in the store or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the people, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I don't think it should be that you should try to spotlight it. But if you do, hey, I'm happy that you're doing it. You're trying to give back, and that's fine. But this is all about the people that are trying to create the narrative about individuals, right? You're spotlighting somebody that gave out $300, but you're not spotlighting somebody who paid the bail. You're not spotlighting somebody who sent the lawyers to get somebody like a Meek Mill out. Sure, Meek Mill had his money. Sure, Meek Mill is a high profile guy, but that was a step forward. Meek Mill getting off and Meek Mill's fucking judge being found corrupt led to like 130 or 200 cases in Philly being retried.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For people like us, right? And you give Meek Mill that credit, but if Jay didn't send his lawyer, if Jay didn't help pay to get this dude out, would that have happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it may have, but what did happen is what they need to spotlight. Not, you can't be like, oh, well, if Jay didn't do it, someone else would have done it. Or, oh, Robert Kraft would have done it, or whatever the fuck the case is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's my biggest thing. Like, you can't just look at somebody and be like, oh, because they have so much, they have to do and give at that level, as opposed to what they are doing or giving to try and get and make the community right. And I'm not saying don't challenge them. I'm not saying don't question some of the decisions, but you have to have trust at the end of the day that if somebody that's made good decisions and represented our culture in a positive way in the past for years upon years, you know, if they've made a decision, you have to allow that to play out. And if it's wrong, if it turns out that, you know, they're way off the fucking deep end, or whatever their plan is fails, then absolutely you hold them accountable, and you know, you fucking spotlight it, you discuss it, you have conversation behind it, you know, and it is what it is. But to immediately, oh shit, did you see what came out yesterday? We got to cancel this motherfucker type shit. And not just hold, but anybody. You know what I mean? If it's somebody that's giving you, that has that type of shit, Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons did so much for the fucking community, and you know, I get it. What he did was, you know, what he was accused of was pretty fucking serious. But you know, you immediately forget about all the good he did. Bill Cosby, all the fucking great he did. Bill Cosby is a legend in our community. Bill Cosby, you know what I mean? And you're gonna tear him down? Like, don't get me wrong. What he was allegedly doing um is filthy and disgusting. There's no room for it, and anybody that does it or takes part in it should be punished to the full extent of the law. But you know, that doesn't mean, you know, because somebody has a problem, because someone has an illness, a sickness, you know, and that's a mental illness, you know, to think that's okay. That is a mental illness, just like these mass shooters. You know, we say those are you know, that's mental illness, while others say that it isn't. You know, um, you can't judge a whole character by one decision they've made when they have 50 other things to show that they have the best intention for, you know, the culture.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you know, it's kind of what we agree, and that's also where I'm saying, in a sense, you know, we can't as a people, um, you know, put all our eggs in one basket. We can't look at a Jay-Z or a Cosby and expect them to be the end all be all. You know, they're human. They make mistakes. They're not perfect. And like you said, you know, people. I mean, you'll hear people say, you know, multiple things about Martin Luther King Jr., saying, "Oh, well, he was cheating on Coretta." Yeah, you know, when you're out on the road, days after day after day, you know, and let's be real, you're a freedom fighter, you're a powerful man, you're charismatic. Women are going to, and I mean, people are not going to want to hear that shit, but women are going to want to have action with you. And as a man, weak to the flesh, he's gonna indulge, and so it happened. Does that negate the good that he's done for thousands of people? No. And even in the regard with it, you know, people try to argue his philosophies and say he was this, he was that. I mean, you know, you just hear so much stupid shit. It's also like the thing, like where I always say that people say, not my ancestors, you'll get these hands. Like, we're just, I don't know. I think it's like you said, this black Twitter, this this cultural society that we have now as a people. We're fickle, and I think it's largely because we're being driven by, you know, internet kids, and people. And when I say kids, I mean like people 30 and under, because a lot of these people drive the situation, and a lot of the people that are in media, they they pander to that, not pander to it, but they gravitate to that. You know, the Sean Kings, the, you know, even the Jamil Hills and all these other people. You know, they're big on the internet, and I think even though that they're older people, and you know, they may have done and had action oriented things in the past, I think they're the type of people, not knocking them, but they're, you know, they're the type of people that subscribe to the internet troll, the troll and the train, and you know, they'll go on and they'll post it. And I think mentally, man, people will get so wrapped up into social media that they'll post this shit not even for anything other than to just get affirmation from other people that they have the same feelings. And I mean, that's okay, but you know, you can't make it matter and mean so much to you that you're losing sight of what the actual problem is. And I think that's where we are with the whole NFL. You know, if you notice, and this is a good thing that Jay-Z was saying. We boycotted. Now what? If you look at the whole situation, we have now made this shit the people versus the NFL, and it's like, for what? What is it really? What is people quote unquote proclaiming that they're boycotting the NFL? What does that really do for the advancement of colored people in this country? Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you still turn on your TV on Saturdays to get in bed with the NCAA. You still turn on your TV from January to July to watch the fucking from February to July to watch the NBA. That's even worse. And it's just so asinine. And I know I've said this thousands of times, but I think like you're alluding to, we're so fickle, we're so clickbait oriented. We are really missing the fucking point of what really matters. We're really missing the point.
100%. 100% agree. I'm interested to see. I'm still interested, to see how it all plays out. I'm interested to see what the ultimate play is for Jay. Again, right, 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, or 6 months from now, if the decision is bad, if it looks like it's all a money grab, or whatever the case may be, then yeah, as a culture, we have to hold them to that same standard. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. With it.
I know you were not happy with the second episode of Power. I don't want to get too far into it because I haven't watched it yet. It's been a rough few days. With the drafting, and we talked about it already. Hurricane and you here, and shit, lots of drinking, lots of libations.
Mm-hmm. Good times. But yeah, Power. Without going too far into it, man, I just think the writing is completely off the rails right now. I watched the second episode in 2 minutes, and I was disgusted. I was utterly disgusted. It's just, and maybe it'll pick up the third episode. I mean, at this point, I think I watch movies, I watch TV shows, I watch it with a different lens. I'm looking at it for everything. Some people can watch it and they like the drama. Some people like the espionage. Some people like the sexual tension between characters. People watch shit for all types of reasons. I'm looking at it to say, I know we're operating in fiction, but if this is a crime drama, how realistic are they making me feel that this could actually happen? How good is the writing? The scenarios that these characters are put in doesn't make sense. Then there's the action. Then there's all the other elements. And I just think, Power has been a show historically that stuff has happened. You can just be like, that's a little far-fetched. But, okay, all right, okay. Believe me, convince me. They're now at a place where I think they're at a point of no return. I don't know if anything that they're going to do is going to make fucking sense. They're spending a lot of time on irrelevant things, irrelevant people. And it just looks bad. It just feels bad. It looks bad. And I don't know, man. I'm not happy with it thus far at all. So I'm still going to be invested because, you're kind of obligated to watch a show, all the way through when you've spent so much time with it. And, it's kind of crazy. And I think I alluded to this before when we were talking about Game of Thrones. When you have so many seasons and you drag something out for so long and you kind of missed, your peak is kind of came and went. And you probably should have ended it then. The writing, if you're not careful, will really go off the rails. And I think they're at a point in time where many shows come to where the writing just doesn't end and it gets bad.
Yeah. Partial. So the issue that I have there is I have to sit. I'm gonna watch it and see for myself, obviously. But half of the people that have seen it are saying that it was good. Saying that it's dope, saying that the franchise is great, which up until this season I've loved it. Even the first episode, which I think you guys were not the greatest fans of, I still liked it. I can say that the acting wasn't the greatest, but I thought the overall episode itself was pretty good, and had some opportunities, but not enough to divert me or make me think they're done or this franchise has to end or whatever the case is. So I'm gonna check out the second episode, see how it goes one way or another. Either way, I'm gonna see it to the end. Apparently they signed on for another season. That was confirmed. 50 said they're not that it's not done after this last season or after this season. So we'll see. Maybe they're character building. Maybe they're trying to eliminate so that they can make room for contracts or whatever the case may be. Who knows?
You definitely gonna see it this episode where it's gonna be potential for like spin-off shows and things of that nature.
Right.
Definitely gonna be potential for that. But you know what? I was just thinking about it because I was at your house and I was up pretty late and I was watching Spartacus, and that show really does not get a lot of credit for just being a great show. Now you have to be, of course, into that genre. Ancient Roman times, gladiators, all of that good stuff. But that was a pretty flawless show. And even for a show, and I know you weren't into it too much, but even for a show that that lost its main character in real life due to cancer, it was, it picked up. People were very skeptical about the new guy coming in. I think they did a phenomenal job just indoctrinating him into the character and then having the cast around him support him in their acting levels and the writing. That show, I think, when we're ranking shows like just recent times, I would say, because people that watch shows from the 70s and early 80s probably would have their own opinions, but I think when we talk about The Wires, The Sopranos, the Game of Thrones, the Breaking Bads, the Walking Deads, I think Spartacus does not get its just due for being put up there. And it could be largely because a lot of people didn't see it. But that show, if you get into it, it had everything you could possibly want in a show. And I think it is definitely one of the best. Highly underrated. Highly underrated.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll give it a watch, but I never have. And part of the problem for me is when I go back to watch something old like that, usually the graphics aren't always up to date. So, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it ain't that old, and I mean it's it's a lot, not a lot of CGI to it, so it's like any other show. I think personally you would love it. Like I think personally you would love it. I think it's the perfect show for you, actually. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. What else? I think I can't think of anything more. I mean I could probably force some shit in here, but I'm thinking it's a good week for a light one, a quick one, and then we get right back into it. Maybe early before next week to once we get to see some stuff of what took place on the football field on the NFL front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a good week. It'll be a good time to recap the games, etc. And hopefully we'll have, the team back. These dudes no call, no show. Horrible.
Yeah, we'll call VP no call, and we'll call E no show. That'll be their new names: no call and no show. That's what we're calling them from now on. All right, so yeah, without further ado, since VP's not here, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get us on an outro.
Well, hey everybody, or whatever.
You sound just like him.
Oh man, we appreciate you, man, for coming out. Listening to us, taking the time to listen to what we got to say. We appreciate the support. You have made the choice to bang with us, and we definitely want to bang with you. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching Castworthy. You can catch the podcast on the major podcast distributors: Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Did I say Apple Podcasts? Apple Podcasts, and www.spreaker.com. Appreciate you for rocking with us, and we out.